We got it.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Happy
Well,
Tuesday. New Thought Tuesday.
New Thought
Happy New
Tuesday.
Thought. Are you
Welcome.
having happy new thoughts today?
Happy
We're
New
here to
Thought.
make sure you do.
Spiritual creatives, we're talking to you today. Are you frustrated and feel like your back is up against the wall? Ah, gosh, who hasn't been there?
Yeah.
Today on New Thought Tuesday, Rich and I are going to talk about the spiritual equivalent of fake it till you make it. And that is acting as if you have, so you may receive. Acting as if you have, so you may receive. And this starts a whole flow of desire, expression, reception, giving. So there's a giving and receiving. We know that life sometimes can feel like it's going in the wrong direction, like forces are working against you, or simply you don't cut the mustard, either at home or at their job or even with yourself. But today we're going to share stories about how you can look frustration straight in the eye and watch it disappear. So we'll talk about how you can use spiritual principles to uplift every aspect of your creative process. And then after our discussion, we'll all get together in a breakout room and have a private group discussion with you later. So we are live on New Thought Tuesdays. Richard, welcome.
Hey, welcome. Look me in the eye. What is it they do? I'm looking at you. I got you. Okay, so we got you today on New Thought Tuesdays. Act as if you have. I'm excited to talk about this. There's so many aspects of acting as if you have, so you may receive. Just trusting in the universe. It deals with faith. It deals with excitement and just, manifesting the whole works. So I'm excited to talk about it today. Do I seem excited?
You do seem excited. So since we're both excited, let us move forward in this whole idea of, well, first off, Rich, stories. Do you want to start or should I start?
Yeah, you start.
Okay, so my story about acting as if you have so that you may receive is really a negative example. It's an experience that I've had in this last week where things have been remarkably, there's been attention, there's been a lot of activity going on, there's been excitement, there's been compassion, there's been sadness, there's been much going on the human plane. And I'm committed to experiencing and expressing love. And my human expression this week has been kind of all over the place. I've been chomping the bit and frustrated and excited and sad. And that's where my story comes in that I've had to go back into my quiet self with nobody around to really accept who I truly am, to know that my intention and my divine desire is always for love. It's always for abundance. It's always for creativity. It's always for peace. It's always for creativity. And it's also recognizing that all of this stuff doesn't always look pretty. It doesn't always have to go, easy and effortlessly. I'm willing and excited to ride this roller coaster of life. And that's where I've taken this idea that we're talking about today, Rich, and going, okay, I need to act as if there is calm here.
Yeah.
I need to act as if there is eternal life here, which is a deep spiritual belief of mine, and it's being tested. So the idea of being able to say, okay, my belief in eternal life is being tested right now. I am present with this, and I allow myself to act as if eternal life, this energy that we have, is ever unfolding. I would love to say, I'd love to give you a positive example of here I acted as if this something happened and I got a Broadway role or whatever. But in this case, it really has been apparently scraping the bottom of the barrel in a lot of ways, but going off into that still, quiet moment and revitalizing, remembering who I am spiritually. That's my story for the week of this whole idea of.
As creatives, we all go through that, probably more often than not. Trick is like you're saying, Dean, the eternal life. That's the life within you. That's the divine presence within you. Okay. And so, act as if. Well, how do you act as if this eternal life is flowing in and as and through you in a perfect, harmonious way? When you're faced with the stuff that comes up in your life, you just go right to that fact that this is eternal life. There's an eternal life, a presence, a power and a presence within me that's perfect, whole, and complete. So therefore, this thing that I'm experiencing, all that is just an illusion. The perfection is within that. And when you see the perfection, then that becomes who you are, who you become. If you see the chaos and the stuff that's going on around you, then you're not acting as if. You're not acting as if that divine presence is revealing itself as perfection in your life. It's a tough thing to do, though, when you're surrounded by this stuff. Act as if. So just like you're saying, that stillness, go back inside, deep inside, and just recognize that life is eternal, that eternal life within is expressing itself in perfection.
Regardless of the appearances.
Yeah.
Regardless. And before you tell your story, Rich, I just wanted to, sometimes Rich and I will reach back into writings that are inspiring to us. And in this case, we've got a couple of quotes from the King James Version of the Bible. And the first one, this is all in the act as if you have, so that you can receive idea, from Mark. It's actually Mark chapter 11, verse 24, where Mark says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you received it, and it will be yours." Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours.
Yeah.
And the other one, when we go into conversation in the discussion section after, I really want to look at that statement and how I found it to be true, because there's tense in there that's very important, present and past tense. Then also Matthew chapter 21, verse 22. And Matthew writes, "And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if," wait for it, "you have faith."
Yeah.
Okay. Matthew didn't say wait for it, but Matthew did say, whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. So Mr. Smith, your story about this whole idea of.
I'm going to look at that quote again. Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you will receive it. Asking you shall receive, seeking you shall find, knocking shall be open. When he talks about prayer, for me, prayer is affirmative prayer. Because if you're petitioning a God to do something for you, that's like saying to God, the universe, "I don't have it. Please give it to me. Please, please, please." You're beseeching God to do something for you. But whenever you ask in prayer, affirmative prayer, that's the key. Affirmative prayer, where you affirm that you're working with an unlimited power and presence. It's not withholding anything from you, and it's always giving you of your good. That's affirmative prayer. Then you're going to get the answer.
And the key there, though, Rich, is that you said in the beseeching prayer, it's like, I don't have this, God, give it to me. First off, beseeching is talking to a God oftentimes that is outside of yourself. And the I don't have this, God. In affirmative prayer, the unspoken statement is, I am this, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I not only have this, but I am this. I am this love. I am this abundance. In this case, I am this eternal life. I am this love.
Yeah. And that
That's the
brings you
difference
the
between
peace.
beseeching, and because they're both ways of working with
Yeah.
these principles. You can
Yeah.
beseech and you will get more of, I don't have this. You can affirm and you will get more affirmation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good.
So
So
go
with that,
tell us your story. I've been wanting to hear your
I
story.
had so many stories we're talking about. I'm trying to think of which one.
Well, you were talking about the documentary, and now last week you were telling us about the documentary about that you are creating of that spiritual awareness in LA, and you talked about really just the idea of it coming to you at 3 a.m. as far as reaching out to this person for an interview, and they interviewed, but you really are having an excellent experience with this whole documentary idea. How's that unfolding for you, and how does this whole idea of acting as if work into your experience with your current project?
Yeah. Well, if you take a look at last week's New Thought Tuesday, I talked about how I was going to do some photography shoots for Instagram. And my prayer, my desire, my affirmative prayer was that I want to create more films. I want to get back into filmmaking and less into marketing on the internet. And so basically, in a nutshell, I ended up going to Venice Beach, and the universe conspired. And before you know it, from the time I left the house and packed all my equipment to go to shoot some footage in Venice Beach, I ended up creating a documentary called Spiritual Awakening in LA. And then I got an interview on the way there. I mean, go watch the episode, you'll see. But now I'm saying to myself, okay, so how do I use act as if you have so you may receive? Well, what is the next thing I need? I need to interview people, and I don't have anybody right now. So I'm acting as if that I have so that I can receive. And I went to bed the other night, and I woke up, and I had this idea that there's people in LA that have had transformational experiences, much like I've had in the past, that are kind of like interesting. And so I thought, I'll start interviewing people. And all of a sudden, names popped up in my head. This guy, Melvin and Sherry Allen, who I took courses with, very spiritual. And I remember once a long time ago, they told me stories about how their spiritual awakening came up. So the universe will conspire to bring you whatever you need. And for me, what I needed was to remember that these guys had a story that was really interesting back then. So now I got to get in touch with them. I haven't talked to them in 10, 15 years, but I got to get back in touch with them and see what they're up to, see if I can interview them and talk about their story. And then that will lead to other stories and other stories and other stories that will build the excitement, because, the whole thing about act as if you have so you may receive, it's about affirmation. It's about faith. It's about moving through something with faith, because you're acting as if that fact that you're acting as if it's happening. Well, and the faith behind that, because you're taking steps. Last week, I packed my car up with video equipment and went off to the beach to shoot, and I didn't know what I was going to shoot, but you act as if. And so for me, that's what it's all about, the faith.
That faith. And you also have you have a Walgreens wallet story.
Oh yeah.
Tell your Walgreens wallet story about that idea of acting as if.
Yeah. I had my wallet stolen. Actually, it was my phone with the credit cards in the back of it. And somebody charged $30 at McDonald's. I don't know how you can spend $30 at McDonald's, but they did. And then they charged $300 and some odd dollars over at Walgreens. So I did a prayer treatment with my wife, and I said, okay, I'm one with divine presence, one with infinite intelligence, one with my highest good, one with the people who stole my wallet. They're all divine expressions of the infinite too. And I'm going to connect with them. And God damn it, I'm going to go there and I'm going to find them. I said, I did my prayer. Prayer answered, I'm going to go get them, right? So I go to McDonald's and went there. I went to Walgreens. And as I'm going in Walgreens, I talked to the guy and I said, look up on your camera and see if you can see anybody who was, using a credit card just a couple of hours ago. And so he went off to do that. In the meantime, my wife called and said, a woman showed up with your wallet, with the credit cards and everything in it, and gave it back to you. And and the guy came down from Walgreens and he said, yeah, there were people here. One of them had a red baseball cap. Nothing against the Red Sox, but it was a Boston Red Sox cap on. And as a matter of fact, I come from Boston, as you can tell from my park my car at Harvard Yard accent. So anyways, to make a long story short, she returned it. So that to me was the answered prayer, but not in the way that I thought it was going to happen. I thought I was going to go out and tackle. And that's the whole thing about what we do when we're acting as if. Acting as if doesn't mean go out there and, God damn, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to, because then the universe will match that energy, and it won't give you that because you're trying too hard to get it. So you go in with faith. I believed I was going to get my wallet back. I had no idea that the universe, God, divine presence, would have this woman. Maybe she was on a guilt trip, or I don't know, but she returned it after spending all the money. But I was so grateful to have it back, and I was grateful for the lesson in and just being still and allowing the universe to conspire to bring you whatever you need for your project, for your casting, for your acting, for your filmmaking, for your music. It's going to be there. And I'm going forward. And now that we're talking about this, I'm going forward with my documentary, and I'm acting as if, my photographer said, I got my camera back. He broke it a couple of weeks ago. And I said, great, let's plan a shoot for next weekend. I don't know what I'm going to shoot, but I'm going to call Melvin and Sherry Allen.
Right.
I mean, the universe is, your good is always knocking on your door. Your good and your God are synonymous. It's one and the same thing. It is your good is your God. Your God is your good. So if you open up to your God, you open up to your good.
Do your treatment, do your open up to your God, your affirmative prayer, and then take it on the road. Move your feet. There's a quote that Ernest Holmes has from How to Use the Science of Mind. And he says, believe even before you can see it or experience it. Believe.
Yeah.
Even before you can see it or experience it. So as you're believing it, you are experiencing it. As your faith brings this idea, this visualization to you through this affirmative process, this is how you are building this energy. And you bring this energy forward, recognizing that that you are putting out into the universe or something even greater is unfolding. You need to see it, and then feel it and know it.
Yeah.
And we keep talking about coming from a place of calm, of harmony, a positivity, a sense of impact and abundance. And then take the actions that when you're in that place, when you're desiring, having that divine desire, you're having that desire, go from that place and watch the miracles unfold. Watch the miracles unfold. And as you were saying, the lessons that you've learned, pay attention to those demonstrations, what you're learning in this process of your new thought, embracing new thought. What are you learning? What's unfolding for you? And how can you take these thought focuses, change your thinking, change your life, change your world?
Yeah.
Now you can change your thinking for the greater than, or you can change your thinking for the lesser than.
Yeah.
You can change your life for the greater than. You can change your life for the lesser than. You can change the world for the greater than. You can change the world for the lesser than. What is your choice?
Yeah.
Courage, the greater than, not hurting yourself or anybody else. That's part of New Thought Tuesdays. That's part of the Infinite Filmmaker, which is Rich's brand. It's part of Living in Concert with Life, which is my brand. Just sending out love and light. Hey, are we done here? Are you ready to go in conversation with our friends and folks here?
Yeah, that's great. Didn't you have something else to read from Ernest Holmes? No?
Let's see. I did. Well,
we usually end with a little affirmation.
We should end with a little affirmation. Affirmation-lutely. So this is our affirmation for today.
Yeah. Is this from Dean?
Pardon me?
This is Dean's affirmation or Ernest Holmes?
Yes, I will say that Dean actually did write this affirmation.
Awesome. Okay, let's hear it.
This is a Dean-formation. I see my life as I want it. I feel excited to live that life. I know that life is mine right now. And I take daily small steps to live the life I see. I see my life as I want it. I feel excited to live that life now. I know that life is mine right now, and I take daily small steps to live the life I see. Yes.
Yes, and so it is.
And so it is. So we're going to go in
That's great.
conversation. And for those of you who are here, we'll be right with you. And for those of you who are watching us on social media, either live or or Memorex, go to newthoughttuesdays.com if you'd like to have the link and join us in conversation. Thank you so much for joining us live and in person. Thank you so much for joining us in the repeats of this. Do comment, please. Comment below.
Yeah.
Say hello. Even if you're my mom, say hello. But bring out your thoughts about how this idea, how you relate to it. Maybe you don't relate to it. Come in onto the conversation, online comments, subscribe, and then we'll talk to you in the chat room in just a second.
Okay. So we'll see you next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time and 1 p.m. Eastern time. Dean's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, and we are here with New Thought Tuesdays. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you then.